For the last 4 months, I've been trying to add a new boss to my indie game. The only problem was every version I made was terrible. I fought Burnout, struggled through countless designs, and finally, I created a boss I actually wanted to fight. This is the story of how I added the most complex level yet to my first ever indie game, 9 Princes. It all started a few months ago. I just finished my last boss and I was excited to keep working. Then, I got stuck. Keeping with the theme of demon enemies my game already had, I was gonna try to make my next boss a demon I found called Moloch. The only problem? Google was not exactly cooking me up some crazy inspiration and I had no idea what I wanted either. Moloch. Low-key, I could make him like an evil cow. Would that be tough? Yo, why is he pregnant? This is literally just a cow, bro. This is not a demon. That is literally just a cow. Yo, is this an AI? What the? Yo, why he low-key kinda bad though. Why he low-key kinda bad. Why does this one have like the troll face, bro? Yeah. What a goofball. Alright, that joke did not land. I don't know where I was going with that. Holy crap. I'm tired. I'm just getting tired. Okay, I think you guys get the point. Basically, I had no references and I had to wing it on the design. This is where the burnout really started to become a problem. For example, most people like to spend their spring breaks on vacation or something. I spent mine up in my bed until 2 a.m. every night, failing on new boss designs. I went weeks and weeks making barely any progress. For my first 2 bosses, I pretty much knew how I wanted them to look from the start, but this one was very different. At first, I tried making him more of a fish monster guy, but I wasn't feeling it. Maybe a squid type thing? Nah bro, this is ass. Eel monster? Doesn't fit my game. I tried to stick with my theme of animal bosses, so I made this bear monster, but I couldn't even think of good attacks for it that didn't just copy the Minotaur's attacks. At this point, my computer had about 1 million holes I'd punched through the screen after failing another boss design. So, I decided to take a little break from boss design and try to make a background. And after weeks and weeks of failed designs, that's what finally fixed the problem. After weeks of failed boss designs and getting absolutely nowhere, I accidentally stumbled into the very background that saved my entire level. It had such a cool atmosphere and vibe, I knew that I had finally actually cooked. Using the background, I was kinda able to work backwards and, after a few more attempts, land on a boss design that I actually liked. This swamp monster type thing. Alright, we finally made some progress. Now we're on a roll. This is gonna be light work! Yeah, no, I'm joking. I was still burned out so bad, I could barely bring myself to work on my game. Honestly, I think with Burnout, you just gotta take a break. I tried to brute force progress when making this boss when I didn't have a good design and got nowhere. I basically beat Burnout by watching TV and eating Chick-fil-A on my couch for like 3 weeks straight and barely touching my game. And this method is not patched, so feel free to use this strategy if you ever get burned out. Anyways, after more or less getting through my burnout, I was able to cook up some attacks for my new boss. I wanted to design this boss's attacks around the blocking mechanic in my game. Since it was pretty optional and not very useful in the last 2 levels, I wanted to give it the spotlight in this one. I came up with one attack where the boss would push a wall at the player that you could only avoid by blocking, and another attack where spikes come up from the ground that you could only pass through if you were blocking. For the melee attack, I thought it would be cool if I gave him like a sword that he grows out of his hand, fitting with the theme of this level being this kind of naturey, malevolent, creepy green swamp. With everything planned out, I made the attack animations and also added this cool foreground grass layer to add some more depth. Finally, I made the health UI green to match the color scheme of the rest of the level, because I thought the red assets just clashed too much and looked kinda weird. And with that, the art for the level was basically done. Surprisingly, the coding process was actually the easiest part, even though I'm absolute butt at coding. Right now, the boss is fairly simple, so I think it could benefit from some more attacks, phases, or sophisticated patterns. But that's a problem for later. The hardest part was probably coding the behavior of this dumb vine wall obstacle, mostly because I had to give it 2 different states since I was just lazy and used the same art for the spikes and the wall the boss pushes at you. But now the level was complete. I'll put some gameplay for you guys to enjoy, and let me know in the comments if you have any feedback or ideas on how I can improve the level or boss, or any ideas for new levels. Enjoy the final result of the level and the new boss, the Bog Amalgam. Vamos! After 4 months of working on my game and fighting Burnout, I finally finished my most challenging boss to make so far. For now, I'm calling it the Bog Amalgam because it strayed so far from what Moloch actually traditionally looks like. But recently, I've been thinking it might be cool to call it Moloch anyway, and have my own creative spin on that demon. I need to figure out what comes next for my game, so let me know in the comments if you guys have any thoughts. Should I add some more cutscenes and dialogue with NPCs, or should I focus on the next boss fight and the next level? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.